Welcome to Halifax. I had 4 days in the city for a very special trip to check out the best of the city's live music venues, and I loved every minute of it. There are so many venues, and I'm going to show you 4 of my favorites with a peek at a few other things that you really need to check out in and around the city. So I'm in Halifax, not just to see Halifax, which will be cool because I haven't spent a lot of time in Halifax. I used to come as a kid, but I haven't been here in ages, aside from with my family twice, I think now. The whole trip is about local music. So I'm here to check out some of the awesome local venues that have really cool music throughout the week. So you can come pretty much any time of year, hang out, go to a bunch of the venues, and it is incredible the amount of musicians here. I really do think there's something about the East Coast for music. A lot of people are born with it, maybe. I don't know what it is, but anyway, it's amazing. So I'm really excited to be here to check it out because I absolutely love covering music. I've done big concerts, I've done little concerts. I love the idea of going to venues here. They're all about the vibe, the mood, the music. It's awesome. There's something to be said for going to a big giant concert, but there's something also to be said for smaller venues, hanging out, relaxing. I absolutely love that, especially during travel when you may never hear these artists again. Maybe you can follow them on Spotify or something, but I love finding new artists. The Halifax Harbour is a gem in the city, and I'll have a bit more on it later, but first it was time for some coffee at Le French Fix. It's a great local bakery on Prince Street at Argyle. They make their own pastries with excellent coffee and tea in this wonderful, relaxed and charming space. I was visiting in early spring, but it was great weather and I walked everywhere downtown. And then I headed to the Art Gallery of Nova Scotia to see something really special. The Art Gallery has 2 buildings with over 19,000 pieces in their permanent collection. They have exhibitions with a range of local art. And I'd recommend a visit to fill some time on a rainy morning or some rainy day, but they have a permanent exhibit that you really need to see. Maud Lewis's artwork and her home. Lewis is one of Nova Scotia's best known artists, and she was an icon. She also suffered with terrible arthritis, and she lived in this tiny home that has been preserved and set up inside of the gallery. She painted throughout her whole house and even on the stove, and she lived in Marshalltown with her husband, Everett. Her work is beautiful and iconic, and she had such a beautiful soul, and her art speaks to that and her love of Nova Scotia. Everett even tried his hand at painting too, trying to help her, and made some of his own paintings in Maud's own style. The art gallery also had Oh Baby by Seamus Gallagher on display when I was visiting, and don't forget to check the gift shop. It has excellent local pieces that you can take home. For lunch, I went to the classic family spot, the Bluenose Restaurant. The restaurant is a bit of an institution, serving a full menu that includes lots of seafood, and I had to get one of my favorites, fried clams. But they also have lobster rolls, lobster, and lots of other specials. Nearby, the Market Mall has a few specialty stores, including clothing shops, jewelry, a restaurant at the back, and this charming book and souvenir shop with local maritime items. I spent a lot of time down by the harbor just soaking up the sound of the water in the stores, and it was right beside my hotel, the Marriott Harbourfront Hotel. Hotel is a popular spot for conferences and has great views of the coffee shop and restaurant that serves lots of goodies, including a cheesecake that I'd highly recommend, and local beer as well. I had a king bedroom, and it was very comfortable with a couch, desk, fridge, and a surprise from the Discover Halifax and Tourism Nova Scotia folks. Boat coming in. I got some goodies, which that's really cool. There's even lobster chocolate. Oh, look at the cool view. I've never stayed down here by the harbor before. You can even see the island out there. Nice room. Marriott has been very kind to me over the years, I must say. On my first night in Halifax, I head out to Beerley's House of Blues, and it was the perfect night out. The bar has been operating for nearly 40 years, but recently moved to this new location. And it's a great spot with lots of tables on 2 floors, great local beer, lots of deals, and the amazing Garrett Mason performing on Tuesday nights. Garrett put on an awesome show, and he's one of the best blues guitarists that I've ever seen in Canada. I highly recommend checking him out when you're in town, and Beerley's is just awesome.
It was a song of the summer. She was the girl of the year. I'm not the boy that I used to be. That guy is so far from here.
Like some days in Halifax, it was a little foggy on my second day, but it was the perfect time to check out some jazz at a favorite spot near Propeller Brewing. The Local is a restaurant and bar that has a really diverse crowd, from university students and a younger crowd to hip 30s and 40s to older jazz fans. And on Wednesday nights, gin and jazz night is awesome. They serve Compass Gin, among others, for a great price, and the place really filled up. It's a great vibe, and I loved the smash burger and chips. And the house band is fantastic. In the same building, the venue also features the Seahorse Tavern and Marquee, 2 other top-tier Halifax music venues that you really should check out when you're in town. They always have a great lineup. The next day, I walked the city and saw some of the local art, part of a cool rejuvenation project, and then I had lunch at 2 doors down, a hip wine bar with really wonderful dishes, and they do also have some great local beer like Big Spruce, which I really enjoyed. And for my main dish, the Atlantic seafood linguine was excellent, with scallops, shrimp, mussels, seared tuna, and a wonderful garlic white sauce. They also have dessert, but I was way too full to enjoy one. Talking about the music spots in the city, I didn't get to all of them, but there's also the Old Triangle Irish Ale House, Dirty Nelly's, and the oldest bar in the city, the Split Crow Tavern. These are all great spots you should consider checking out for music too. Before heading out for music and a meal, I wanted to check out Compass Distillers, and I ended up having a cocktail and taking home a couple of bottles. The distillery and bar has fantastic upscale cocktails and of course, lots of great gin and vodka and other spirits for sale that you really should check out. And then, a few blocks away, I arrived at the Narrows for dinner and more live music, but this time traditional East Coast fare. The space feels a bit like stepping back in time, and on select nights the restaurant has performers in to play traditional and other music, and sets the tone for this historic building that's over 100 years old. The Narrows serves local beer and excellent homemade meals from scratch, including their square meals that come with house-made molasses, brown bread, and mustard pickles. It was a delicious meal. I loved every minute, and the music was perfect. My third day in Halifax was gorgeous, and it was the perfect chance to explore nearby and see the city of Dartmouth. Dartmouth is across the harbour, and you can get there by car and transit, but you can also just take the ferry. It's only a 10-minute ride, and you arrive in the center of town for just $3. You can sit inside or outside on the ferry boat, and if you head back within a 2-hour window, you can also use your original ticket to get back for free. It's a great chance to see the whole city and then explore the modern and cool city of Dartmouth. The ferry terminal has a food court and the library with this unique space, and a few steps away there are shops, stores, restaurants, and bars. There's a lot to explore in the whole downtown core here, and I decided to go to New Scotland Brewing for lunch, and I had Lorenzo's fried chicken, which was just excellent. Nearby for the music lovers, there's Renegade Records with all kinds of used music from vinyl and CDs to tapes, VHS, and even DVDs. It's an awesome store, and I highly recommend stopping in here to see what they have. It's an amazing collection. When you're in Dartmouth, make sure to check out Vandal's Donuts. They make excellent donuts. There's ice cream, there's lots of other shops. You can also check out the Ferry Terminal Park. It's a great spot for a look back at Halifax. I've heard wonderful things about sunrise and sunset here. And also you'll find monuments to the Halifax explosion. There's one here in Dartmouth. You'll find some around Halifax. It's really interesting history. It's a brutal point in the history of Halifax, but it's a really interesting story. Before I headed back though, I had Port City coffee. I checked out some of the shops in the whole ferry terminal, which is awesome. I've heard great things about the food there. The ferry comes every 15 minutes, so it's really easy to head back to Halifax at any point, and it's great to plan around. There's also Cow's ice cream right near the Halifax Harbour here, and a new art installation that's come with the new Queen's Marquee district. You'll find the art pieces around this district right by the Mirror Hotel, and then I also recommend a stop at Peace by Chocolate. This is an amazing chocolate shop that's run by a family of Syrian refugees who've moved to Canada, and they've made an incredible impact with their brand and this delicious chocolate. It's just incredible. You really need to take some home. In this space behind the Mirror Hotel, you'll also find the Sirens Calling by artist John Greer. It's another highlight right beside the tidal beacon that you'll see in the background, and each of the statues points in a different cardinal direction. It's a beautiful space. I love all the restaurants here, the stores. It's really going to be hopping this summer. I think you'll have to plan at least a few hours here, stop and have a meal. Before it got dark, I headed back to the hotel for a break, and then I went up the street to check out the last venue on my list, the Carleton.
Out of the water, headed out west, you said that you'd be back soon.
The Carleton is another institution in Halifax. They have a fantastic dinner menu. They have a range of local and touring artists that are on all the time. And it's just a wonderful, intimate space for shows. I loved everything about this night.
Ambition makes you lonely. I gotta get going. Conversation is boring. I got my festival pass when you were watching the guys. You were the one playing keys and I walked down into a tree. It's the thing.
One last stop to make. I want to go to the market. They've got a fantastic market here, so I'm gonna head there, see if I can bring anything home, and then I'm off to the airport to head back to Toronto. But it's been such a great trip. Halifax is such a great music city. I mean, the Junos have been here. It kind of makes sense, right? But I think it's also, I really wonder if it's part of the East Coast heritage or it's in our blood here or something. I grew up in the Maritimes when I was a kid, and every other person played something. I don't know that I see that elsewhere. It's kind of cool. Halifax's Brewery Market is where you can take the Alexander Keith's Brewery Tour, and on Saturdays it's a lively farmers market with lots of things for sale, including pottery, fruit and vegetables, art, bread and baking, and so much more. I have a real soft spot for markets like this, and it's such a great space. I'd definitely say to come hungry because you can find lots to eat here, but even if you're not hungry, I'd say come and stop by and get something to take home. It does look like a tongue from this angle, but it is a wave. I'm headed back to Toronto. I had such a great time in Halifax. it was 4 days of just great stuff. And of course, I didn't just see music, I did get to do a bunch of other stuff, but I will say that the highlight is definitely the music and the live venues here, the quality of the performers. So cool. It was a great few days. If you're headed through Halifax, even if you just take one night and go out and check out some live music, you'll be impressed. There's jazz and blues and pop and rock and everything else. It's pretty impressive. So yeah, it's a great city for that. But then there's so much more. I had a great time checking out some restaurants and the market, and I went to Dartmouth for the first time in years. And the ferry makes it so easy to get from Halifax to Dartmouth. You don't even have to drive. You could just walk to the ferry, take it over. It's a great little trick there so that you don't have to drive around or take buses or anything else. I really enjoyed my time in Halifax, and I look forward to coming back maybe summer or fall again at some point, because I do think the vibe here during summer is so cool, and the waterfront is gorgeous in the summer. The parks are amazing, and it's a great stepping off point to get to other parts of Nova Scotia afterwards. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please consider subscribing or giving this video a like. And otherwise, let me know if you have any questions, anything you want to know about Halifax or the venues. I'd be happy to answer in the comments.